Mediator Leadership Qualities, part of the series Mediation with or Without Attorneys with Tye Bourdony. That is your topic for today. Welcome to the Lawyers and Mediators International Show and Podcast by InstantMediations.com, where we discuss law and conflict resolution topics to educate both professionals and everyday people. Catch regular episodes on YouTube, the Instant Mediations app, and anywhere you get your podcasts. Just remember, nothing in these episodes constitutes legal advice, so be sure to talk to a lawyer, as cases are fact dependent. Hey everyone, this is Mac Pierre-Louis, attorney mediator and arbitrator working for Florida and Texas.
And Natalia Łowska-Czajka, advocate, mediator, and arbitrator from Warsaw, Poland.
And Tye Bourdony, Director of Mediation at CPLS PA in Central Florida and primary mediation trainer.
Yes, welcome back, Tye. So it's been a little while, but we wanted
so good to be back.
wanted to, of course, follow up with you because you always got something to share. And so today we're going to be talking about leadership, qualities of mediators as leaders in the mediation process. But first, Tye, before we get into the topic, because we only got like 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Before we get to the topic, could you just share a little bit about what's been going on with you and your new position?
Yeah, so I haven't, been in one of my favorite places to be, and that is talking with you guys for a little bit, just because I became the director of mediation at a great law firm in downtown Orlando that really gets mediation, and they really get training as well, which is what attracted me to it. And that's CPLS in downtown Orlando. So I'm a primary mediation trainer, so I've been doing that as well. And so, careful what you wish for, you might get it, and it makes me really busy as well, in a good way, though.
Yeah. Before Natalia takes over, I'm sorry, Tye, the background that we have, we've been reintroducing new backgrounds for everybody that's customized and personal to you. Could you take 10 seconds and share with us why that's an important background?
Yeah. And Mac did a great job putting it together. I appreciate it. And it was also, you were like, well, how about, or maybe Natalia was like, maybe a picture of Orlando. And I said, ooh, Lake Eola, because my office, actually, that's the view from my office, but not just I'm lying. My view is of the side of a hotel. If you're mediating in the CPLS mediation suites, this is the view, literally. And it's just beautiful. And it helps, let me tell you, right, to have a nice view out the window when you're mediating such contentious things. So it was a great choice. Thank you. And I think it looks like we're on CNN too. I love it. So that's the fountain at Lake Eola, and I think it was on Gay Pride Day that photo was taken, because it's all, Oh, actually, you can't see it, but it's a rainbow.
So everything is there. There is the rainbow, there is the lake, and now we can go to mediators' leadership qualities.
Yeah.
This is a topic that Tye has been recently working on, also as a part of his CMA trainings.
Right.
And actually, I believe this topic can be a little bit controversial, because there still are in the world moments and methods where mediators just take a step back and allow the parties to lead. So in a way,
and they do.
To some people, mediators' leadership qualities might be like contradicting the entire process of mediation where the parties are to take lead.
I love it, Natalia.
So tell me how you designed it, and if you wanted people to actually react this way and make them think how it works.
Oh, I love how you set that up, actually, to be quite honest with you, because I think that's there's a dichotomy there, is there not? On the one hand, are the parties not empowered? Yes, the parties are empowered, right? Self-determination is the most important thing about mediation. That is, the parties deciding how best to, empower themselves. Well, mediation empowers them. We empower them. So, yes, they're in charge. But the fact of the matter is that the mediator is the guardian of the process. And so as the mediator becomes more comfortable, becomes more experienced, then, we exhibit qualities of leaders. Like, so for instance, How do you, as a mediator, stay in charge, keep control of the room with parties when it's so contentious, with strong personalities? By not, well, for me, it's by not trying to control the room, right? But by not trying to control the room, I'm controlling the room. If I'm controlling the room, am I doing so from a leadership perspective? Yes and no. I'm doing so from a subdued sitting back, right? But nonetheless, there are times when the mediator has to exert leadership qualities, when I have to take control. For instance, the parties are going crazy at each other. Well, everyone, now might be a good time for us to caucus. Now, am I coming across as I'm controlling the process, or is my suggestion, based upon my experience and the way in which I do it, conducive to helping the mediation progress? But am I not, in essence, a mediator? Excuse me. Of course I am. Am I not a leader? Sure, I'm a leader, right? In knowing when to do it, how to do it, when not to do it. Do I do it forcefully? Do I do it subtly? Every mediation is different. Each party needs a little something different. I just love the way you put that question, because that's a really great way of looking at it. It's yes and no, isn't it? Right? And it depends. And you got to know, a mediator also has to know, like, one of the things is a mediator has to be a good listener. Mediator also has to know when to be quiet and not insert themselves, right? So great way of opening up, and yes and no is my answer.
Yeah, Ty, can you talk a little bit about experience? Because a lot of the things you're saying, you say it like, knife going through butter. It's smooth. You've done it a million times. But for the folks out there who either are parties and they have not gone through the mediation process,
Right.
or for baby mediators who haven't really done this, too often, how does mediation leadership qualities, how are they part of mediation experience?
So the more comfortable we become, and again, great way of putting it, because that is a problem, right? I mean, it's very hard to understand it in a way from a practical perspective. Excuse me, but experience is what makes a mediator a better mediator, right? You've seen things so many times. You do things in just a bit more of a nuanced manner, and you understand the way mediation works. You understand the process. You've seen parties in these kinds of situations. You've seen parties in that specific situation with a lot of different variables, though, because each mediation is different and it's unique. And it's when you say your opening statement 1,000+ times, and I've probably said it 3,000 or 4,000 times, your mediator's opening statement alone becomes unique to each and every, like, there's things you have to say each time. You have to say that you're neutral and impartial. You have to talk about the confidentiality process, and you have to talk about the voluntary and consensual nature of mediation. Sure. But you always have to say that. But then, based on what's going on, based on what you see in the party's demeanor, based on the conversations you had before, based on reading the pleadings, you may then tailor your opening statement to talk about things they might need to hear, right? Is there domestic violence? Is someone a talker? Are the parties so combative that we need to begin in separate rooms? So I'm giving my opening statement twice. So again, experience is what tells mediator how to proceed best. There's no black and white in mediation. There's a couple of things that are black and white, but for the most part, it's the gray. We work in the gray at all times. And so, like Bruce Lee says, you have to be like water. You have to be fluid. You have to be flexible, and you have to go with the mediation where it takes you and help lead the parties to the destination that they need best in that moment, in that day, right? And every mediation can't be in agreement. So I just said such a mouthful, right?
Yeah.
That's 12 years of my mediation experience. And I kind of have an idea how, and it's going to progress. And 10 years from now, I'm going to talk about it a little bit differently, and I'll be a better, more dynamic mediator. So we get better each time we mediate. Each mediation, I learn new things, or I see something different in a way that I'd not seen it before. So it's just a constant, that's what I love about mediation. It's never the same thing twice, and we're growing every time we do it.
Yeah, let me get both of your thoughts on this. So, when it comes to experience, when you've done something a million times and it's become part of your routine, it's
Yeah.
rote, right? It's part of your reflexes. You know, you can do it in your sleep. And you said,
Right.
for example, 12 years you've been mediating, and I find I've been a lawyer for about 12 years, and I've done more legal work than mediation work, but whenever I'm doing a consultation with a client, I'm talking to them about a case,
Yeah.
and now I focus predominantly only on family law, really. I find myself like almost being able to predict the outcome
Yeah.
of a case, almost being able to predict what's going to come out of the client's mouth next.
Right.
Because you do something so much, you start seeing, now you get surprises, right? But,
Oh
but,
yeah.
but I was thinking, like you said, you say your opening statement a million times, and you kind of get used to it, and you've developed your leadership skills based on your experience. But just like a flight attendant is in an airplane, and they do back in the day before the TVs would do it for us in the back of the chair, the flight attendant would stand there with the seatbelt and the face mask, and then tell you all these instructions. And no one listens to her or him. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this poor flight attendant, they go through these routines every single flight, right? Multiple times a day, but they
Oh.
have to do it because it's federal law. But doesn't the person get tired or
Mm,
bored, or do they want to skip a
I
step?
love that.
So,
I like that.
what are your thoughts, guys,
Ooh.
on maybe sometimes the routine of it all can become a
Ooh.
little dry?
Oh
How do
yeah.
you spice it up? How do you make it stay alive, even though
Wow.
you've been doing it for 12 years over and over and over
Great.
and over?
Great question, Natalia. What are your thoughts? Because that's a great question.
My thoughts are that just like with the flight attendants, following on the example, they sometimes try to entertain you on top of
Yes, they do.
just showing you the routine. This is a part of your professionalism to
Mm,
find ways to keep people's interest, and it is you who controls it. This is where part of the experience is, even with the opening statements, you need to adapt it, adjust it
yeah.
to
Yeah.
the particular parties. So you see what they will mostly need. You can check
Yes.
up with them what part of them is already known to them, how they understand it. That can be also something more interactive, even if so that it doesn't create a long, just boring speech
Right.
that is a formal requirement of
Right.
mediation. So that would be one thing. But the other thing is that experience can and should make us better.
Mm,
That means more receptive to what people are doing,
yeah.
more flexible and more fluid to see how it works with these particular parties, with these
Right.
particular lawyers,
Right.
and
Right.
also remember that even mediation is a mutually learning experience. So it's not just parties learn from you how to behave, what to do with the thing. I really find it so interesting that I learn from people, and this every single
Mhm.
time in mediation, I learn
Yeah.
something new about how
Agreed.
they approach things, what sort of, like in families, family mediation. You see how people approach certain difficulties in life. You see certain patterns, of course, Mark is right. But on the other hand, you are also able to influence them. And
Mm,
then I'll segue at some
mm.
other stage to what I wanted to say about it.
Wow, you guys said so. Yes, 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 yes. I love it all. So um the I think that when the flight attendant is doing that part, and that's like their opening statement, right, again and again and again and again. So that's about being authentic, right? It can't be something. We have to be authentic in inauthentic moments, and an inauthentic moment is something you do again and again and again and again and again. And so while we have done it again and again and again and again, the parties haven't. And for them, it's the first time that they will have, many times they've never been in a mediation before. And so it's the first time for them. And yes, Natalia, is absolutely right. We're setting the stage for the parties in front of us, right? For that individual set of unique set of circumstances. And so And the opening statement is a place in which you kind of let everyone know what to expect. You set the stage for what needs to be said and what they need to hear. And to Mac, your point about I've seen so many, and you can tell where something is going. So, it that's before mediation and during mediation, right? So well, one of the things that will help you tailor an opening statement, for instance, you might talk to the parties beforehand, you have read the pleadings beforehand, and so it can give you an idea, but we shouldn't go in with that as being what's going on. We really still don't know what's going on, but it's a guide, right? And it can help also kind of set the stage for the mediator to have an idea. Okay, these are some of the issues I'm going to be dealing with. But then with experience, what else am I going to see that's going to come out based on these people's individual relationship and the way it blew up, and what is it that's unique about this situation. And so then as you're hearing them talk, so right, Mac, you can anticipate things. You've seen them play out so many different ways before. And the more that you see them play out, the better you are at anticipate. For a mediator, anticipation is, okay, I hear what they're saying. What am I going to hear when I take that over to the other side? I'm probably going to hear this, or I might hear this, that, and the other, or I might hear, and so before you leave, sometimes as appropriate, right? Depends on where you are in the mediation, but you might then do a little pre-framing or reality checking, and that is, okay, I hear what you're saying, and I understand that you know how you feel, and you would like me to say, now I'm starting to reframe a little bit, and then I might say something like, but when I take that over there, I wonder, what if they tell me X? Or what if I see, then how would you like me to? So, and the point is, our experience is what makes a mediator, right? And it's not just your mediation experience, it's your life experiences, right? I bring a lot of I'm a professional cartoonist, right? And so, but how can I bring cartooning skills to but as an artist, when you're stuck, you're taught, get perspective, step back, or take a break, or focus on a different area that's related and come back to it. You see, right? So we bring so many experiences with us to the process. And the more experience you have, specifically as a mediator, the better you're going to be for the parties, to help them, to lead them without them even knowing that you're leading them, right? And you don't do it like consciously, I'm going to lead them, but it's just the byproduct of it. So one of the other things is leadership is a byproduct of experience. A mediator becomes the mediator they will be because of the experiences they have, and it changes you, as I hope we change the process. Yeah. So you guys said so many great things there. It's all true.
So I want to segue from there, because when you say about mediator as a leader, you need also to focus on something else. We are also the leaders, because what we bring into mediation is also the new approach sometimes. This is what we also teach people, to approach the problems differently. So this is also when and how the process can be a life-changing thing, that can make the communication channels work better, that can set up things within a proper perspective. And I am not saying that can only happen in mediation, where a mediator is a therapist. We are also the leaders of how we want the world to be, the peacemakers. So you have to be a leader in peacemaking in order to be a good mediator.
Yeah,
So
sure.
you have to be a leader in the way you behave yourself,
Absolutely.
giving you confidence,
Right.
giving
Right.
its attitudes to
Absolutely.
people, that they can trust you,
Oh
that
my God. Yes.
you are leading them through an important experience in their life, but you are
Right.
not going to make them feel lost on the way, that you are
Mm.
getting them through something, maybe
Yeah.
even through a stormy water, but
Yeah.
you'll be the leader who will get them safely to the other side.
Yeah. I think that's right. Right. I couldn't agree more. It's a byproduct of having done it for so long. I think most people become mediators because they are peacemakers, or because they want to make a difference, or because they like that aspect of the law, right? Rather than litigating. Like I got bit by the bug early, and I knew this is what I wanted to do. And we make a difference, and we really make a difference in people's lives. And a lot of it is also perceived value, you know. And so I remember, I think I've told you this before. When I was a young mediator, I never wore a tie and I never wore a vest. Now I always wear a tie and I always wear a vest. And the day that I put on a vest and a tie, I recognized how if people treated me here, they treated me here that day. And I recognized it immediately. And that happens in mediation all the time. People are summing us up. People are making, they're gaining impressions. First impressions really count in mediation. And things happen in mediation, and you have to address them, and in such a way that you're doing it without doing it, right? We do it in a very sophisticated and nuanced, instinctual way, right? And that's what experience does. And it helps you naturally become a leader. Our job is to lead them through the process, right? There's an ancient god of doorways, right? And a Roman god, by the way. And that Roman god had a staff, and they had a key in one hand and a staff in the other hand. The staff was to lead you through the process of transition, and the key was to open the door to a new beginning. That's what mediators of, if we had to, mediators prayed to a god, it would be that Roman god of transitions, right? Because it's what we do. We don't do it on purpose, though. But it's our job. Our job is to make sure that the process happens appropriately from the beginning, right? That's what an opening statement is for. Then you might caucus, and then, what is it that we do? What's the purpose? As we've learned to do that, and as we do it, we're taking folks and we're guiding them through a process to get them from a point of contention to a point of resolution that hopefully, if it works, when it works in mediation, to your point, Natalia, they're vested because they trust in the mediator. And if they trust the mediator, they trust the process. If they trust the process, then they're open to the mediator, who through the process brings the message from the other, right? And if now they can hear that message, wow, what a difference we make in people's lives. And did we not lead them? We led them. But you don't do it the way a military leader does it. You do it in a very sophisticated, hands-off kind of way. Not that you don't have to be directive. Sometimes you do, but our roles change at different parts of mediation. And yeah, we're definitely therapists. We are definitely therapists, right?
Yeah. So Ty, wrapping up, give us
Yeah.
some closing statements, closing remarks. I almost had arguments. Too many lawyer days in my head right now. But give us some just points to wrap us up, and so we can let folks go.
Yeah, absolutely. What we do makes a difference in the world. And I think a mediator has to recognize that we do have a responsibility, right? And that responsibility is also one that can feed your soul, right? When I was reading something recently that said, when you help someone with your emotional intelligence to get through an emotionally challenging time, and you help them, it actually benefits the person who helps them. So being a mediator, right, is good is like chicken soup for the human soul. And so it means a lot to me that I get to do that. And I like to say that we make a difference, one mediation at a time in your community, and in turn the world, right? Because you affect someone, and then that someone affects someone, and hopefully what we do matters, right? And so it's important, and we have to recognize that we are leaders, and we have to, take that seriously. The last thing, so there are many meanings of life, and one of them is giving, right, to others. And that's what a mediator does, right? They give of themselves. Like, how tough it is to mediate. I mean, hours and hours and hours, and you're talking and talking. And so I'm well suited for it, because all I do is talk. But what we do matters, right? So, and what you guys do matters as well. Well, John, keep it up. And thank you for having me back. I loved it. I can't wait for the next one.
Absolutely. All right, guys, stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, signing off, Mag PLE. Thanks so much.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.